Hey Josh, how are you doing? Hope you're fine. Anyway, it's a happy independence to the people of the Gambia. But I will do what was done when basically when what 4th of July was asked what it meant to the slaves. Well, us Gambians want to ask our government or tell our government what 18 February meant to us. Gambia didn't physically fight to have her independence, meaning we never shed blood. It was a negotiated settlement between the British and the sovereign people of the Gambia who were once colonized. Well, our forefathers never had the education that we are endowed with today. They were not highly educated, but they were very patriotic and they meant well to country, notwithstanding they didn't have the right toolkit to develop and build a country. Well, we were bequeathed a country by our forefathers better than we are about to give to the next generation of Gambians. And I think this in itself should allow us to stop, think, and ask ourselves what kind of a Gambia do we want to pass on to the next generation of Gambians? Have we done better or worse off than our foreparents? Well, therefore, if that's the case, 18th February should not be a day where Gambians should be saying happy independence anniversary to you know, each other. It should be a time we should ask ourselves and reflect. Where are we heading as a nation? Do we have core ideals that bring us together as a people? Do we really know who we are, from whence we came, and where we want to go? These are the burning questions that honest Gambians need to ask themselves. Not a day for us to celebrate, not a day for us to be wishing each other well, because all is not well. Maternal mortality is very high in the Gambia. Education system is so poor. The fail rates are so high. Unemployment, it's so high. Infrastructure, it's so poor. Electricity is appalling. What is there to celebrate? And I think that's why I'm saying we need a somber reflection. Are we a people at peace with itself? What do I mean by that? Gambia happens to have a diverse community, people of various ethnicities. Are we at peace with ourselves? These are the type of questions we Gambians need to ask ourselves. It is foolhardy to say happy independence anniversary, because there's nothing to be happy about. Frederick Douglass once said, "What is 4th of July to a slave?" Well, we are not slaves as it relates to our nationality, Gambians. But honestly, sometimes I have heard older people say, when are the British coming back to colonize us? And a nosy young Nyanjai retorted and asked, why do you want the British to come back and colonize us when you are free? Well, this old person said back to me, life under the British was better. And I asked why. He said, we were able to go to school up to standard 4, and we were able to write letters that were first class. We were able to access healthcare, and healthcare at its best. We were able to live in environments that were clean, controlled, and made sure that garbage and everything wasn't dumped around. Well, we are independent today. Do we have that? The answer is no. We are independent today. Are we better off with the British or without the British? It's a shame that we will even compare the Gambia of the colonialist and the Gambia managed by Gambians for Gambia. It is sad that we should even make a comparison to ask ourselves, was life better off during colonial days than now? It is painful. It is a disgrace. It's a shame that we, the people of Gambia, are asking ourselves, are we better off with ourselves, or were we better off when someone else controlled us? It's a tough question to ask. And it's a shameful question to answer. Am I better off with myself, or was I better off when I was controlled by someone? It's a shame. I even want to delve into it, but my pride is not allowing me to compare the Gambia of the colonial who cared less about me than the Gambia of the Gambian, which is controlled by a Gambian like me. This is not about Adama Barrow. It's not about Yaya Jammeh. It's not about Dawda Jawara. It's about us, we the people. In life, every people get the government they deserve, and every people are a reflection of the government they have. Gambia is awful because we are an awful bunch. Gambia is stagnated because we don't want progress. Gambia is left behind relative to its immediate neighbor Senegal because they have high aspirations for their country relative to us. So, shouldn't we start using 18th February to look at each other and ask ourselves the honest question, are we ready to be a nation? You know, I think it's high time we Gambians open the discourse. And the discourse is regional integration. And when I say regional integration, I'll start immediately with Senegal. Is it in our best interest as a people to just merge with Senegal? Well, I am a nationalist. I am a patriot. But equally, I'm a pragmatist. And what I'm seeing right now, it's not about if you can't beat them, join them. But it's time Gambia asks itself. You know, Berkeley Rice said Gambia, the birth of an improbable nation. But when he said that, he was thinking more about resources. Can Gambia be a country on its own? Well, we have proved to the world we can be a country on our own because we have the human resources and we are able to make sure that we create services, whatever we lack in resources that other countries are endowed, being gold, diamond, and others, we have in human resources. And we can be a viable country. But the reason why Gambia is not a viable country as is, collectively, we are not ready to move. Therefore, are we better off just being part of Senegal and call it a day? For me, These are the bitter, hard questions we need to start asking ourselves. The pace at which this country is going, it's going for doom. The pace at which this is not the government. I may be very critical to the government, but the problem of independence, the problem of self reliance, is not a problem of the government, it's the problem of the Gambian. I'll start with traffic. Yes, it's the duty of the police to enforce traffic laws and ordinances, but we have seen how disorderly we are. We have seen how chaotic we are. That's just one thing, traffic. We now go to sanitation. We see how filthy our towns and cities are. Yes, it's the municipality who needs to pick up garbage. But look at our immediate surroundings. Do we have to wait for the municipality to come and clean just outside of our premises? Once again, the attitude of the people. The psyche of the Gambian is sick, and it will continue to be sick so long as the Gambian doesn't have a broader perspective of nation building, so long as the Gambian don't have the understanding that it has to be communal before self. It has to be the collective before me. These are the fundamental problems that are plaguing the Gambian and will continue to plague the Gambian because we are inward looking rather than outward. The self-centered nature of the Gambian has really deterred our progress as a people and as a country. Back to my question. Today, our internet comes from Senegal. Bulk of our electricity comes from Senegal. The food we eat comes from Senegal. Our security comes from Senegal. Best part of our entertainment comes from Senegal. The TV stations we watch are Senegalese. What is left of our sovereignty? Not much, if there's any. So therefore, isn't it time we sit down and ask ourselves, are we better off as a people to merge the two countries together for the interest of Gambia? Forget about Senegal, for the interest of Gambia. Because size, small, can be a disadvantage, but in the case of Gambia, it has been an advantage that we refuse to make use of. Since we have reneged our obligations to state, i.e., provision of security, provision of welfare for the average Gambian, provision of affordable and accessible energy and internet, provision of good education, isn't it high time we ask ourselves, why don't we become part of Senegal? A lot of people will not be happy with this proposition, but it's 18 February. We need to think. We need to ask ourselves, and we need to decide the direction that this country will take and continue to take. And for me, the issue is not a political question. It's not. It's nothing to do with Adama Barrow, nothing to do with Yaya Jammeh or even Dawda Jawara. It's everything to do with the nature, attitude, mindset of the Gambian. I am of the view, I'm sorry once again, that the Gambian happens to have a village mentality. We have a primitive mindset as it relates to development, and that is clearly exhibited On the Kairaba Avenue from Westfield all the way to the Kilsell Junction, we see corrugated shops along one of the most prestigious roads in the Gambia. You leave the airport junction coming to Bursabiton roundabout, donkey carts, derelict cars, filth, junk, a lumo, a market, a bazaar. That's the mindset we have of what development is. And that's why I am saying our neighbors have left us behind. You go to Senegal, they're thinking of corniche. You go to Senegal, they're thinking of apéage. You go to Senegal, they're thinking of modern stadiums. You go to Senegal, they're really looking at development from a modern perspective in terms of urbanizing their country. Why? The mindset of the Senegalese is no longer primitive. It's the mindset of a modern African. And the collective mindset of the Gambian is a primitive mindset. That's why we're indifferent to the corrugated shacks. A case in point, Kairaba Police Station, right at the heart of urban Gambia. Container shops and corrugated shops attached to the fence of Kairaba Police Station. That's the Gambian. That's who we are, and that's who we want to be. So what has independence brought us? A country without ambition, a country without dreams, a country without aspirations. From 1965 to date, there's not much that has been done to urbanize Gambia. From 1965 to date, there hasn't been much that has been done to modernize the country, not only the infrastructure, the mindset of the Gambian. So, shouldn't we start thinking, are we better off merging with Senegal, not being consumed? There's a difference, because every people should have pride and dignity. But I'm a pragmatist, and being pragmatic is telling me that what's best for a country without ambition is to tag along with a neighbor that is ambitious. Maybe if we decide to have an arrangement with Senegal that is going to allow us to have the principle of first amongst equals, meaning we are coming into a venture as equal partners, not a subordinate partner, the average Gambian will have a better life and livelihood. Kwame Nkrumah once said, the independence of Ghana is meaningless until it's tied to the total and overall independence of Africa with the view of a continental government. I think that is still far-reaching for the average African, because we still have this mentality of mine, mine, mine. But as a pragmatist, once more, Gambia and Senegal, it's to the advantage of Gambia to want to join Senegal. It gives us access to a broader market. It gives us access to modernization that we have refused and denied ourselves because of our primitive mindset to development. Our tolerance to the shack and ghetto mentality of corrugated shacks, shops, you name it, along our busy streets. Oftentimes, people blame leaders, but leaders emerge out of who we are. So we are our leaders. Our leaders are us. It's the Gambian that is sick through and through, and this has no political leaning or backing. So let us not blame Adama Barrow for the corrugated shops, the donkey carts, and the tanganas and the mechanic shops all along our busy roads. We accept it. We want it. And we see nothing wrong with it. You cannot go to Dakar anywhere today and you see such things because they have standards. They're benchmarking themselves with global best practice. But in Gambia, we're not. So this brings me back to my question. What has independence brought us, we the people of the Gambia? Not much. Because we never wanted much. It is sad that the Gambian is not an ambitious entity. Forget about what we want to do for self. And this is what I tell people. What good is it for me to build a $1.5 million home in Bruford Heights, and immediately after opening my gates, I'm literally in a ghetto? People selling fruits, people painting cars, donkey carts selling hay. This is the problem, and this is what's wrong with our country. We are a people without standards. We are a people without high dreams. And when I say we, I'm not using I, because individually Gambians are building beautiful homes. But we live in an ecosystem, and the ecosystem is shared. So your beautiful home and that beautiful car you buy, soon as you open your gate, you're back into the ghetto. So what good is the beautiful home and the beautiful car? And that's why development is a collective enterprise. And this collective enterprise must have good public goods, good roads, good hospitals, good schools, good security. And this is what we are lacking. And this has eluded Gambia since independence. We had an energy problem in 1979. I think it was 79 or 77. In 1977, that's when our generators went bad. 77 to date, 87, 97, 207, 2017. It's almost 45 years. We are yet to fix that electric problem. So we ask ourselves once again, are we a serious nation? The answer is no. Honestly, I am trying to emotionally talk to Gambians, put politics aside, and see what is wrong with us all. We are all sick. We don't want too much. Our ambitions are tamed. Our aspirations for our nation is dull. So what has independence brought us? Not much. And to show you that Gambians talk the talk and don't walk the walk, all you have to do is listening to the beautiful anthems we have, be it in Wolof or in English. Ligay jotna Gambia amna bopam. The first thing, the first line, talks about self-reliance. Ligay jotna Gambia amna bopam. Bunyu tayal nenjengu ligay. It's telling us not to be lazy. Let's strap our belts and work. Baylen sufsi lichine amna njeriñ. Our agricultural yield is going down year in, year out since independence. It's not growing. So it means we talk the talk and we don't walk the walk. You look at our English anthem, the same. For the Gambia, our homeland, we strive and walk and play, that all may live in unity. We don't live in unity. Gambia as a country is not at peace with itself because we still have that tribal mentality. We still are divided people, divided along tribal lines. Fula, Mandinka, Wolof, Sere, Sarahule, Jola, Bambara. In 2022, 57 years after being a nation, we're yet to understand what nationhood is. So, my dear brothers and sisters, if this is the mindset of the Gambian in 2022, shouldn't we still stop and ask ourselves, are we ready to be a nation state? And if any one of you is honest with yourself, you put sentiments aside, you will agree that Gambia is not ready to be a nation state. Because we are the people who should build the nation state. But we don't have the mindset that is ready to build a nation state. We don't want too much. We don't expect too much. We don't want to use global best practices as benchmarks. We love the village mentality. And the one-eyed man is king in Gambia, unfortunately. And I'm not talking about President Barrow. I'm talking about the one who think he knows this much. Because we refuse to open up. We refuse to know what's around the wall. The wall is going by. It's Gambia that is stagnant. Show me one city in Gambia today that happens to have a drainage system. None. 57 years after independence. Not even Banjul, because the drainage system in Banjul doesn't work. That's why during flash floods or heavy rain downpours, we end up having floods in Banjul. Show me one city that has good infrastructure, roads. None. Show me one city with a good hospital. None. Show me one city with a good market. None. 57 years after independence. Well, that says a lot about what we want. We want nothing. Because we don't have benchmarks. Like I said, 1977 to date, no electricity. And we're still happy with it. The Gambia, no problem. So it's high time we get honest with each other and float around the question of Senegambia. Independence is just not a paper that we should be flouting happy independence because it was 18 February, that we were given the right to manage ourselves. You see, a right comes with responsibilities. And the Gambian has reneged the responsibility of citizenship and nationhood. The responsibility of citizenship and nationhood has been reneged by the people who make up Gambia. We're just happy to be alive. We're happy to witness another 18 February. And let nobody tell me Happy Independence Day. Because the Gambian is not happy. The Gambian has poor healthcare infrastructure. The Gambian has poor education infrastructure. The Gambian had poor road infrastructure. The Gambian has poor electricity infrastructure. The Gambia has poor internet connectivity. The Gambian has poor access to economic opportunities. What good is independence if all of this are minuses, not pluses? Let a Gambian show me one thing that we have today that we are proud to say we have done good for ourselves. Nothing. We haven't done anything that will take us from where we are, the misery our forefathers found themselves in 1960s 1965 when they gave us independence. Matter of fact, we have done worse. In 1965, before Independence Day, the city of Bathurst had a viable, functional cleansing service called Board of Health. They come into each household to make sure the houses were clean, the streets were clean, the gutters were clean. The whole city of Banjul used to be fumigated. You cannot ride a bicycle without a number, let alone a car. If you don't have a license, you dare not sit on a driver's seat. That is the Gambia our forefathers gave us. Well, the Gambia we live in today is worse than what our forefathers gave us relative to the education they had compared to us. Are we happy? Are we a productive bunch? Are we fit for purpose? And once again, today is a day I will not touch on any politician because they are not the problem. It's you and I. Adama Barrow is not our problem. Yahya Jammeh was not our problem when he was a president. No, Dawda Jawara. The hypocrisy, the selfish nature of the Gambian, the self-centered nature of the Gambian, the indifferent to lack of good standards, quality, pride, is what led us to where we are. And Gambia has literally come to a standstill. Chaos, decadence, indifference are now deeply rooted in Gambian society. Te lii du tabax kër du yóbbu dëkka. So, 18th February should be a day of reflection. But for me, my direction as it relates to reflecting about Gambia is more about being pragmatic and ask myself, why won't I join and be part of my neighbors and we create a country called Senegambia? But the notion and principle behind creating this country called Senegambia is a country where you have forced amongst equals. There is no subordinate partner, but we will have partnership of equal people, irrespective of size. There and then will the people of Gambia start enjoying what development is. Because today, the people in rural Kaulak, the people in rural Jurbel are enjoying better internet than the people in urban Banjul. The people in rural Kaula are getting more electricity at a cheaper cost than the people in urban Banjul. So, don't you guys think it's high time we start having this conversation? I want to open that conversation, and the conversation is, first and foremost, premise on a Pan-African ideal. Kwame Nkrumah said to us, the independence of Ghana is meaningless unless and until it is linked to the overall independence of the continent with a view of having a Pan-African government. I know that's not going to happen in my lifetime. I know there is no way that will be. But realistically, we now know Gambia cannot go as a country. It's high time we accept that fact. Put your egos aside and say, Gambia is not a viable nation. It's not viable because of size. It's not viable because of will. We lack the will as people to move our country. When we lack the will to move our people and move our country, there are citizens within Gambia who want better. who deserve better and demand better. But since we cannot give them electricity after 20, 40 odd years when our power system collapsed, we cannot give them constant running water uninterrupted. Don't you think it's high time we look at another solution? And that solution is to look at integration. Integration is not a bad thing. Integration will take us somewhere. Integration will give us access to opportunities that Gambia has denied us. Integration will give us access to a bigger market. Integration will give us access to a country called Senegal that will make Gambia shine better. 18th February, this is the conversation we should have. Is it time for us to think about a merger, not an acquisition? Senegal is not going to acquire Gambia. Gambia is willfully going to merge with Senegal. And it's high time we think about it because, like I said, our food, our energy, our security, our internet, our entertainment, they all come from Senegal. Be it television station, be it artists, musicians. So, why are we denying ourselves the obvious? The obvious is Gambia is literally another region in Senegal. Now our ports, we are shipping our containers to Dakar. Having said that, don't you guys think you put your ego aside and your pride and ask yourself, isn't it time we open up to the idea of Senegambia? We've already put a bridge. They've already put a bridge. So movement of people will be facilitated and made easy. When we get sick, most of the time, we all rush to Senegal because we know we have a derelict health system. When we want to have a good time, we rush and go to Senegal because we will get value for money. When we want entertainment, we send them over to come because we want something nice. When we want to watch good television, we tune onto their stations. So, who are we fooling? The notion of Senegambia is now more of a reality than ever before because Gambia has reneged on its obligations to its citizens, and Senegal, willingly or unwillingly, has been filling that void. So therefore, it's high time we negotiate a settlement that will preserve the dignity of the Gambian and yet still give us access and opportunity to modernization. We have seen their arenas, we have seen their stadiums, we have seen their roads, we have seen their universities. So we know they want to go somewhere. So don't you guys think it's high time we ask brother Senegal, can we walk together but as equal partners, not a junior partner into a relationship? I think with that, we will give our children a better Gambia than we will inherit them if we continue this thing called Gambia, because this boat is maribound and is sinking too fast. It's sinking not because of Adama Barrow or Yaya Jammeh's making or Dawda Jawara. It's sinking because of our indifference, our lack of vision, our lack of pride. The Gambian doesn't have pride. I'll tell you why. Independence Stadium built in the 80s to date. Did we put a fresh coat of paint on it? No. Did we renovate it? No. Is the turf even in good standing? No. That's who we are. We don't have standards. If you don't have standards, that's what you do. You look at our airport. It was so bad, we decided to fix it. We decided to dump $13 million into nothing. That's who we are. Let us not blame the politicians. We the people, that's where the politicians come from. They are one of us. Adama Barrow is one of us. Yaya Jammeh was one of us. Dawda Jawara was one of us. We just don't want too much. If you don't want too much, you don't get too much. Our brothers in Senegal, they talk a lot, but they're ambitious. That's why they do ambitious programs. That's why they venture into ambitious infrastructure work, unlike us. I think the time has come. We accept the fact Gambia is going in circles rather than going forward. If we're going in circles, it's good to stop. So hamut finga jem, ka ham finga joge. There was Senegambia before colonization, and there should be Senegambia after colonization. And Senegambia is the benefit of Gambia. Senegambia is the solution to what we are going through. Senegambia will give Gambia modernity. Senegambia will give Gambia a reason to be a better country. Senegambia will give us access to things we lack. Infrastructure. Show me one good road in Gambia today. None. Be it our dual carriage to Banjul. Even our bridge is almost past its sell-by date. When was the Denton Bridge repaired, renovated? Never. So that's why I'm saying we love the village mentality, and in the village mentality, anything goes. Where anything goes, that country will not prosper. Gambia is not ready for the big leagues. Gambia is not ready to prosper. But citizens of the country want to move. So it's time the citizens of Gambia start thinking and asking themselves about Senegambia. It's not a minus in our lives, it will be a plus. Senegambia will give you Gambians access to many embassies that today you don't have. Show me one European country that happens to have an embassy in the Gambia other than United Kingdom, which is not even part of EU. None. Show me one embassy in the Gambia that gives out visas to Gambians without going to Senegal. None. When was the last time the American embassy issued visas to Gambians? Over a year and a half. So you ask yourself, is that a country? Do we live in a country as is? The conversations we're supposed to have, we're shelving it. Because we have all been trained to have what you call a coping mechanism. Coping mechanism meaning we know everything is bad, but dinañ soxale ak li bon. Mind you, I am a patriot. I love being a Gambian. But it's high time for us to be realistic. And political pragmatism, that's what the Gambian needs to employ. And forget about egos and emotions. We are not going anywhere. And we will not go anywhere. Because we are not ready for the big leagues. But maybe, if we merge with Senegal, dinañu yokkal jom. If we merge with Senegal, it will give us the impetus to want to move our nation. But as of now, just like Frederick Douglass said, what is 4th of July to the slave? You all should ask yourself, what is Independence Day to the Gambian? Nothing. Nothing. Independence Day to the average Gambian means nothing. Because if we are to check our bank book, not in dollars, but in terms of development currency, we are bankrupt and we're in deficit. We have overdrawn what the colonials left us. What our forefathers negotiated and gave us, we have overdrawn it. We are now in the negative. So what is independence good for the Gambian? Nada. Since we cannot move on our own, don't we think it's time to see whether we can collectively move with our cousins? Well, if we choose not to move with our cousins, time and opportunity will let our cousins consume us. Consume us in the sense that we will continue to be a nation, but we will be a token nation. What is a token nation? Nation by name. And yes, we will be nation by name because all our containers will be shipped through Senegal. Our food will continue to come from Senegal. Our electricity, a bulk of it will continue to come from Senegal. Our internet will come from Senegal. Our security will come from Senegal. Our entertainment, the artists will continue to come and take our money. Our television stations will be redundant because we will be watching the Desas, the TFMs, and their other online channels. So, before we get to that, why don't we start looking at ourselves and be honest? Try nañ pour dem waaye mënuñoo dem. Li tax mënuñoo dem kiñ doon la. Suñ buga moo bariwut. Suñ buga moo bariwut. Ku bugaam bariwut du mën a def prime time. Gambia du musa dem prime time. Because attitude yi Gambian bi is a village mentality. Instead of Gambians help a Gambian to hold high office in international organizations, we'll try and bring them down. Kofi Annan, when he was running to be the Secretary General of the UN, there was a Gambian running. And yes, Gambia didn't vote for that Gambian. The Gambia government voted for Kofi Annan. So that says a lot. I think it's high time we just accept the fact. Buga nañ waaye bañuñ. Buga nañoo dem waaye bañuñ. Suñ bugoon a dem in 2022, Kairaba Avenue du amee ay mbaari korget. Suñ bugoon a dem in 2022, Junction Airport all the way to Burusubi roundabout will not be a ghetto for donkeys, for mechanics, weldermen, etc. A country that wants to move creates benchmarks and standards. Gambia is not ready for the big leagues. Gambia will always be a C-D country. A C-. So, what's going to change? The mindset of the Gambian. What's going to change? Accepting our political reality and our social reality. Our political reality is we don't have leaders who can propel the development that will be relative to our neighbors. Our social realities, we are not ready to get out of the village and the ghetto called Gambia. We love corget and we love containers. We don't want to see proper buildings in modern urban Gambia. Therefore, thinking of joining Senegal, it's not a minus, it's a plus. It will be controversial to those who are emotional, but it will be pragmatic to those who are realist. I am a realist, and I know joining with Senegal It's a plus for me. It's a plus for my welfare. It's a plus for my pocket. It's a plus for my development. I don't know about you, but that's my take. So loving myself is asking for better arrangements. And asking for better arrangements is accepting the reality where Gambia finds itself after 57 years of independence and trying to see how best to make the most out of it. Senegambia is the solution. Senegambia is the answer to our festering woes. With Senegambia, the farmers in the Futa Valley will come and teach our farmers how to grow rice. Because now we have seen how rice cultivation is really taking root in Senegal and, substituting imported rice. With Senegambia, our Nako women will start growing high value vegetables just like the ones we're importing every day from Senegal. With Senegambia, I will eat cheaper stuff that are made from Senegalese factories because it doesn't have to pay anything. It will be one common market. With Senegambia, I will have access to a better security arrangement that I have today. With Senegambia, I will have a better international footprint as it relates to access to airlines because Jas Airport will be a local airport for me. With Senegambia, I will have access to more embassies that I don't have today in the Gambia. So let one Gambian tell me what is wrong with Senegambia but a plus, 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 plus for the impoverished Gambia. So put your pride and your egos aside and look at what's good for the greater good. And what's good for the greater good is to have an arrangement that will make the lives and the livelihoods of the average Gambian who has been denied prosperity for over 57 years to have access to a modern world, since our politicians and by extension the people of the Gambia in a way or another have refused to get out of the village they found themselves during colonialism to now get into a country that will be a modern nation state. So Senegambia must be what we should reflect about today, because there's nothing to celebrate about 18th February. So let nobody tell me happy independence. Soul searching and somber reflection with an honest evaluation of the critical situation this country finds itself in is what the Gambian need to think about. We have now come to the point and realization that Gambia as an entity cannot go, not because of size and not because of lack of resource, but lack of leadership and lack of will by the people, because we're the ones who do the mess on the highways and traffic. We're the ones who dirty our neighborhoods. We are just not ready for the prime time and big leagues. Thank you, and not a day to be happy, but a day for you all to reflect on what independence is. Independence is mun sa bopa, mom sa bopa, gadu sa bopa, ame sa bopa, gom sa bopa. And the Gambian has failed on all of this. Munuñ suñ bopa, momuñ suñ bopa, gaduwuñ suñ bopa, te gomuñ suñ bopa. Suñ gomon suñ bopa, we will not be where we are. So think and think deep. And this is not an insult to anyone, but a provocative proposition for you to ask yourselves, are we better off 65 to date, or are we worse off? If you think you're worse off, surely you don't want to go back to your colonial master, England. But why not have a marriage of equal partnership with your cousin, brother, sister, Senegal? Then our independence will be meaningful. because the life and livelihoods of the average Gambian will be better. Secondly, we will be promoting the idea and ideals of Pan-Africanism. Thirdly, we will bring back all of the way boom bichimboy boy me by making Senegambia once again a reality. Salum of old, part of it falls in Senegal, part of it falls in the Gambia. Let's make that a reality. Seen, part of it falls in Senegal, part of it falls in Gambia. Fuladu, part of it falls in Senegal, part of it falls in the Gambia. Jollof, the same. Fonyi, the same. So let's bring back what our forefathers and ancestors used to have and make Senegambia a reality. And this reality will be a plus for the people of both countries. On that note, I want all to have a somber reflection and ask ourselves, where do we want to go? I know where I want to go. I want to get out of this mess I find myself in. A country that's not taking me anywhere. A country that cannot give me stable electricity, running water, good roads, good schools, good hospitals. If for 57 years we're trying and failing, a generation have lost an opportunity to have upward mobility. Therefore, let us bite our lips, put our egos aside, and open the dialogue of Senegambia. And with Senegambia, we win. With Senegambia, our forefathers will be in their graves smiling that one family has once again come together. If so, we are all better off. If not, we will continue to be destitute. Thank you, and think deep about 18 February. It's not a happy day. It's a day to think. God bless you all. God bless our peoples and the people of Senegambia. And let no one be offended by my statements, because my statements are meant to be provocative, to provoke a discussion, to have a discussion about us, the people. Two people, one nation. That's what we are. No, sorry. Two nations, one people. That's what Senegambia is. I have uncles, cousins, aunts, grandparents living on the other side, thanks to colonialism. So, beating the idea of colonialism starts with killing this thing called independence. And killing this notion of independence is creating a functional, viable, independent state called Senegambia. Then and only then we will do what our ancestors expected of us. Then and only then we would have washed away our colonial mentality. Then and only then will I say the Gambian and the Senegalese are putting their monies where their mouths are. We cannot talk about integration if we are not integrated. We cannot talk about an African Union when the immediate union of some place like Senegambia is not made a reality. And making Senegambia a reality is taking our endeavors ahead and giving us a positive outlook towards life. God bless you all, and thanks for listening.